When author and North Carolina foodscape designer Brie Arthur came to Austin, she joined urban farmers Paula and Glenn Foore at Springdale Farm to swap planting tips and philosophy.
What do a home gardener from North Carolina and urban farmers in Central Texas have in common?
It's just trying to bring back the knowledge that our grandparents had. It's amazing how quickly that information has been lost.
We've skipped 2 generations of having Grandpa having a garden in his backyard, and you would pick what you were going to have for dinner. I mean, when I grew up, we had a, half an acre garden, and my mom was like, "What y'all want for dinner? Go pick it.
Go pick it."
In East Austin, Paula and Glenn Foore tend urban Springdale Farm, growing over 70 species throughout the year and hosting farm-to-table community events.
The community just was very interested, kind of adopted us.
It was amazing. Chefs started pulling in, asking about, are y'all rolling it up here?
Along with supplying local food to restaurants, they've always got a crowd at their twice-weekly farm stand. From near and far, people also stop by to wander the gardens and learn how to grow their own, from food to raising chickens. Raleigh gardener Brie Arthur, horticulturist, speaker, and author of the Foodscape Revolution, encourages homeowners to step up to the plate, literally in their own yards.
Understand the rules of the neighborhood you live in, and then figure out how to work within that context and make the most of the landscape that you have.
Although Brie and the Foores grow in different climates, they have a lot in common. First is understanding that soil is the boss. Although some plants can grow in both alkaline and acidic soil, others are very picky about pH.
And we always want to grow what you can't grow. So, if you're really into blueberries, relocate to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
You can grow them all day long.
Yeah.
But, you guys have plants that we, of course, don't have success with because, our base pH tends to be somewhere in the 5 range.
And we're opposite. We're way high over here.
Regardless of soil pH and its composition, loam, clay, or rocky, one thing is basic to success.
Soil temperature is something that I don't think enough people recognize as the main thing. It's not air temperature, it's soil temperature.
It's soil temps. The most simple thing you can do is buy a soil temperature probe. And it's, you stick it in the ground about an inch in the shade, whether it's 120 outside or in the winter, but then you'll see what that soil temperature is about an inch or 2 down. And then there's charts on the computer, you can go soil temps, and it says, okay, here's when you're going to have your highest germination rate. And you can see it when you plant beets in August here and nothing's happening for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. It's probably too warm.
Yeah.
But when you keep planting and finally 3 days later, there they come. You're in that perfect soil temperature range for success.
As a farmer, Glenn grows on straight row berms, but he knows that's not an option for every home landscape.
I'm a monster raised bed advocate in this part of the country. You can get some limestone block or some non-treated wood and raise it up. Take your existing soil and amend it with compost and mulches.
A lot of times the homeowner associations that I work with, they don't want you to put raised box beds in your front yard. That we have these design aesthetics that are in place.
Right.
And so when I tell people to foodscape, it's really about improving the soil and the landscape you have. And concentrating on those bed edges is such an efficient way because it's convenient to get to.
So make those really free-form kidney-shaped beds.
Exactly, and add compost every season.
Yeah,
Tell people your biggest hobby as a home gardener is soil improvement.
Compost
it's never
is
going to end.
king.
It's really important that people not add those salt-based fertilizers and herbicides because that's going to impact all the microbial activity.
Absolutely.
And so that's where if we can get people to understand that you can top dress and then scatter seeds for dense coverage, you're actually going to have less weed pressure and you're going to have a lot more to be able to harvest.
Absolutely. It wears you out when you think about, what we're doing in America with conventional agriculture.
Yes.
They put a pre-emergent, a post-emergent of this or that, a fungicide, an insecticide, and then we say it's good to eat it. People, when they come in and see all the plants, and it's like right now, things are looking really good. That's because things are looking real good under the soil. There's a whole living city, a colony of microbial activity and symbiotic relationships with, roots and plants and microbes.
And using legumes too. I encourage people in warm climates to try to grow peanuts because it's such an easy crop. It's really fun. And, it naturally fixes nitrogen.
Yeah.
What about crop rotation?
A lot of people have these, holly hedges or boxwood hedges or azaleas or knockout roses, you know, all these common things. It's a little easier to do crop rotations in that context because, you know, you can do a summer border of peppers and rice, and then, you know, the following season maybe have your tomatoes and eggplants in that space. And you're working off of a plan. So each year you can address, you know, I grew this here last year, so instead of having it on, you know, the south border, this year I'm going to shift it to my west border. And that gives you, you know, every 4 years where you can really be circulating things.
We try to keep a pretty good record of, okay, tomatoes were here, and we're going to try to move the bulk of them to the front plot or to the west plot or the east plot, whatever. We don't have a lot of real estate necessarily, so we go vertical as often as we can with tomatoes and fencing.
Most home gardeners can relate to that. Both Brie and the Foores build up to raise the bar on production in limited spaces. Farm or home garden, flowers are essential for pollination and to attract pest predators.
Especially when you're looking at, you know, being as sustainable as possible, your ornamental palette is really where your biological diversity is coming from. And of course, my background is in ornamental production of trees and shrubs and perennials.
Right.
And I want people to value those plants, not just because they're pretty, but because they're blooming at different times and they're attracting beneficial insects that long term are going to help with that insects eating insects concept so that you don't have to spray. It's nice to let nature do the work for you. This time of year it's heavy on the brassicas crops. You're really kind of inviting some trouble plants or trouble insects to come in.
Sure.
And, you know, you have some flowers and you're getting in lady beetles and beneficial wasps.
When it's problematic time, we'll leave some trap crops, an old kale maybe in the spring, and let all the harlequin beetles go that direction.
Yes.
And as we're starting our whole new generation of hot summer crops.
It's cool to see that concept actually even happening in ornamental horticulture, where they grow them, they call them banker crops. And so they might be growing a monoculture of hollies or, you know, any number of traditional ornamental plants. Then they're growing at the end of these areas, you know, pots or even plots in the ground of lots of different diversity of perennials and edibles together. And that's eliminating their need to put out pesticides.
Flowers are pleasing. It's like being able to go out to your own landscape or foodscape and cut some flowers for the bouquet on the table.
Exactly.
And oh, by the way, maybe some of those are edible.
And that's what your HOA is looking for. They want to see something that makes it still look conventionally aesthetic. What I realized when I started sprinkling what I call pixie dust, the seeds of all these things, my HOA, they didn't actually know what vegetables look like. So they thought it was fine because I wasn't doing it in this traditional way of growing in a row. And then they said, oh, kale and cosmos together are a really beautiful combination.
The Foodscape Revolution in home gardens and burgeoning urban farms isn't just food for today, it's a signpost to the future.
When we started over here, my children were really little. I'm like, all right, they need a project. And so we started, you know, we plant edible flowers, and we'd plant parsley and cilantro, and they could go out with the scissors and cut the stuff they planted.
I laugh because I'm on this book tour all across the country, and what I really feel like is I'm promoting the use of child labor.
Amen. I mean,
These
but that's how you
kids
get
are
them
desperate for it.
hooked.
They want this experience. They love seeing how food grows, and then when they grow it, they're more likely to eat it.
I tell them to, you know, start small, start with a couple plots, don't go crazy and eager, and then you're going to burn yourself out because you're not going to be successful.
And always grow what you actually eat.
Yeah.
I have my clients always write down what they've eaten for a week. What can we grow in a meaningful way that will actually impact their regular habits at a grocery store? You know, 99 cents worth of seed can make a huge difference.
Goes a long way, right?
You know, if they just sow seed every couple of weeks, they can have ground covers, and instead of having to spray Roundup on open mulch space, they can actually be harvesting something.
And it's something that the kids can do. And once you get them hooked, like I say, man, I mean,
They're lifers.
They're one of us.
Yes.
Something about farming and community just goes together.